My name is Emmanuel Parenteau. I'm a father, resident, and business owner, all within the municipality of Victoria. And by the way, I think that that is the way it should be. You have councillors and mayors who come from out of town. They live under the common sense rules of their other townships, but they come here to put us under burdens they don't live under. That's wrong. Now, if you look at my platform on emmanuelparenteau.com, you'll see everything I'm talking about, but in greater detail. So I invite you to go there. Now, if there's one thing that every single person I've talked to in this city agrees, is that we have a crisis of both crime and homelessness and mental health, and they're all wrapped into the same bundle. Now, most people don't realize the extent of the problem. Now, for example, the point-in-time report put out by the CRD in 2020 was the latest head count that we did. We have about 0.4% of our general population to homeless ratio. Now, that sounds like a small number until you realize Vancouver has 0.14. We're almost 3 times worse than them. The only city in Canada that's worse than us is Toronto. Now, that's driven our crime severity index in Victoria as the highest in the province for all municipalities. Our police officers have got the highest call service ratio in, I believe, the entire country. So at this point, we don't just have a homeless problem, we have a crime and open drug use epidemic. This is a city I grew up in that I don't recognize anymore, and neither do you. Something has to be done. Now, I've spoken to shelter directors, shelter workers, police officers. This is a multi-layered problem. No one's going to fix this quickly or overnight. Anybody tells you that, they're lying. Now, the other side of the coin is if anybody says this, we're doing the best that we can, is either lying or they're lazy. When I spoke to the people that I spoke with, they had said that they spoke at greater depth and length with me in a few hours than they had with the former council, the present council, in 8 years. That's not good. That means what's happening isn't the best. Any solution is going to have to be as multi-layered as the problem. Currently, the BC Housing and the provincial funding is running most of the shelters and the staff. The one thing, we have dozens of either subsidized housing, community housing, shelters, etc. What we don't have is a complex care facility. Now, this is something a lot of other major cities are implementing, and these are rule-based, well-staffed mental health addictions workers that can meet the needs of several different layers in this population. So we need the province to step up, and we need to aggressively campaign them, plan with them to get that done. The province only lets us evict people from park encampments when we have the room for them in a shelter. That's the game they're playing with us through the provincial courts. That's how we cleaned up Beacon Hill Park. I understand that these homeless people are humans, they have a story, and they need to have compassion and care given to them. And there is a certain percentage of that population that genuinely is trying to get out of this situation. There's a percentage of that population that will forever need long-term care, which can also be met through complex care facility programs. Now, there's also another element, and that is the criminal element. What about having compassion for residents, business owners, people who suffer from this criminal element in the demographic of the homeless population? In 2021, in the summer of 2021, walking through Beacon Hill Park with my 15-year-old son, I was met with a homeless person wielding a hammer, claiming they were going to bash my brains out. Now, if I'd been an elderly person or a vulnerable female, I could have been in trouble. Okay, the lady that was killed in Beacon Hill Park and her body dumped on Dallas Road. The gentleman who burnt up in his own vehicle and died burned alive. And then the 15-year-old in Beacon Hill Park who was assaulted sexually and physically, and when the police came to help, they were assaulted by the criminal element within the demographic. There has to be a law and order component to this. The police are overstretched. They will need new officers. They will need more funding, because without putting pressure on this demographic, we will never, ever begin to pressurize them to not come here. Shelter workers, police will tell you they're coming from as far as the maritime provinces. We have the best weather. That will always be a draw. But we also have a very compliant council that has essentially let them do anything they want. There is no pressure against them. That has to be part of the solution as well. Compassion, law and order. We have to support the police in this. And that has to be, the downtown businesses, according to the Downtown Victoria Business Association's latest report, listed the homeless related issues, crime, mental health crises, etc., as the top three things they want to see changed in downtown. Who is sitting here saying, I want to support the residents, protect the residents, and I want to help the businesses thrive downtown? No one seems to be talking about that segment of the hard-working population, which is already grinding just to be able to make a living in Victoria. So the homeless issue has got to be tackled on multiple levels. You go to my website, you'll see that I've been planning and platforming this carefully, and although it won't be an easy solution, unless somebody starts to turn the boat around, we will be in 4-8 years, the population will be, of the homeless demographic will be double, and the problem and the heartache will be double. We have to start doing something now. So please consider us and the Viva Victoria candidates. We are the only ones staking a point way out here saying we're going to do something that no one's been doing and no one's talking about doing. The time is now. Please consider us. Thank you.